Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sage Advice. My name is Anessa, and I am an indie author, and I publish under the pen name A and Sage. This is a new series, and the whole point of it is that I am going to talk to you about the mistakes and the very embarrassing kind of faults and flaws that I had when I first started being an author, in hopes that it might help you prevent from making the same mistakes. So if you want to hear all the ways in which I embarrassed myself and all the things that I did wrong, then stick around. Today, we are starting this series with a quick discussion about going wide versus staying in KU, and how I made the decision that I made to put my books strictly in Kindle Unlimited and why I did that. So if you're into these types of videos or talking about the craft of writing, or if you just want to hear me talk about everything that I wish I did not do when I first started out, then make sure to subscribe and stick around after the intro because we'll get right into the video. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I hope you guys are having a great week. It will be Thursday when this video goes up, and I'm super excited to get this new series going. And it's actually all thanks to an author friend of mine. Her name is Stella Nova, and she's a fantastic human being. But more than that, she's really good at naming things. And she's the one who came up with the idea for the series and the name Sage Advice, which I thought was brilliant and so punny. And so that's what we're going with. And the whole point of this series, like I mentioned in the intro, is I made a lot of mistakes when I was first starting out. And despite the research, I did a lot of research, but there were just certain things that I didn't know about even after doing all this research. And I wish that somebody had told me. Some of them are small mistakes. Some of them are huge mistakes that cost me a lot of money and time. And so I'm making this series, and I'm going to be uploading one video a month in this series in hopes that maybe my mistakes will help you guys, if you are starting out, to not make them, basically. And so in today's video, we are talking about the big question of going wide versus staying in KU, which is an exclusivity that you would have with Amazon. I actually started out, when I started publishing indie publishing, I was wide. I was very worried about being just on one platform, and these are very substantial worries that most people have, most authors have. And so I started out wide. And then I switched over to KU, and we'll talk a little bit about why I did that soon. But first, I want to kind of talk about the pros of each one, so you can kind of see how I came about to making this decision. So why would you go wide? Let's start with that. Well, first of all, kind of like I already mentioned before, not all your eggs are in one basket, right? Like, you're not tied to just one platform. And that is a very big worry for a lot of people, because if something were to happen to Amazon tomorrow, or let's say they just decided they don't want to publish books anymore, you are, for lack of a better word, very much screwed. Because all your profits, the salary you pay yourself, any money that you make, and everything you've created will be only on this one platform. Another pro to going wide is it is better for hitting lists. So if your entire plan is to hit some kind of list, be it like New York Times, USA Today, whatever, you'll have a much better chance if you are wide, simply because you will have more sales that are coming in any particular week, which is how lists are usually calculated, to give you more of a boost into hitting that list and getting on the list. It will also give you a better chance of getting BookBub deals, though I know that that's a gray area, and I personally don't necessarily believe that. I have gotten BookBubs with just my KU books, so everything is possible. But I do hear a lot of people say that if you are wide, then you will have a better chance of being considered for a BookBub deal. And as we all know, it's a holy grail for marketing your books, so that's something to think about. Another reason you might want to go wide is you will be able to appeal to different readers. So you will have there's readers who read only on Kindle, readers who read only Apple Books, readers who read only Kobo. And so if you go wide, you have more of a chance to get all those readers interested in your books. Whereas if you were in KU, they might not see it. And of course, there's no exclusivity, right? You're not exclusive to one platform, which we already mentioned. On the other side, why would you go into KU? Because wide sounds so amazing, right? And so for me, and this was a choice that I made, is I looked at the expectance of my genre. I write in YA, urban fantasy, contemporary fantasy, sci-fi fantasy mashups. And from what I've seen, and like on the indie side, of course, my genre is mostly in KU. And so I figured that is probably because most of the readers are on the KU platform and they read under the subscription service. And so for me, it made more sense to switch over. There's also the pro of getting paid for page reads. That is an addition to your royalties that you would get from Amazon. For me, about 65% of my royalties come strictly from KU Reads since I have switched over. Now that is money I didn't have coming in before. Also, one of the main pros for KU is if you're a new author, you have more of a chance at discoverability being in KU than if you were wide, strictly because Amazon is such a huge player. It's such a huge platform, right? That readers are already there looking for books. And so there's almost more of a chance that they will take a shot at you if they are in the KU program, because they get to borrow your book for free and read it. And so it costs them nothing. They already pay for the memberships, and it's easier to convince people to read your book if it costs them nothing, right? Whereas if you're wide, you have to do a lot more marketing, push your book, and convince people to spend money on an author that they have heard nothing about. One more pro of being in KU is that it's just one platform, right? While that could be a con because you are exclusive to this one platform, there's also an ease of management to it, right? I have a lot of other things that I do other than write books. And so for me, I might not have the time in the day, actually I know I don't, to stress over other platforms, figuring out how they work, uploading, dealing with them if there is issues. If I want to change the price on the book, I don't have to go through all these different platforms. I just do it on one spot, right? And so for me, that was very appealing. And then the last pro of the KU that I think is huge are the free book promos, right? So you can easily set your book to free on Amazon once every 3 months or 90 days, which is when you're you have like a contract where you're exclusive to them, and then you can pull your book out. And you also can do count-up deals and things like that. And these are promos that are just available through Amazon. Now, of course, you can set your book free when you're wide also, and then contact Amazon and see if they will price match. However, they might not price match. They might not find that it's worth it to them to price match. And if they don't, then you're going to lose out on that whole Amazon crowd if your book is there for like a sale price, whereas it's free everywhere else. So that's also something to think about. So how do you make the decision on whether you want to go wide or go into KU? For me, there's a lot of ways that you can do this. You can weigh out the pros and cons of each. You can see what other people say. You can talk to other authors. You can do a poll of your newsletter to see where people are actually reading. For me, it really was just one thing that swayed me from one to the other. And that was thinking about whether I'm going to be mostly writing in my indie career under series or standalones. So really considering that fact, because I found that with a series, because of the page reads and how quickly people read these days, I was making a lot more money. People were just flying through the books, and that gave me a boost, not just in rankings, but also in royalties. And so for me, that was the thing that kind of pushed me from one side, which is the wide side, into the exclusive to Amazon side. And now we get to the embarrassing part or the mistake part of this video. If you are going to go wide, make sure that you manually go wide. And what I mean by this, when I first started, I was wide and all my stuff was through Ingram Spark. I'm sure everybody knows Ingram Spark. If you don't, it's a distributor and aggregator through which you can distribute your books to different online sellers, actual physical bookstores, libraries, etc. And so I saw Ingram Spark as an opportunity to do that thing that I really wanted to do and save time and be only on one platform, right? Because Ingram Spark not only has the capability to create paperbacks and hardbacks, and they do create beautiful paperbacks and hardbacks, by the way. But they also have an ebook distribution. And so not knowing any better, I basically said, great, I'll put my ebook up through Ingram Spark. They'll distribute it because they distribute it and they put it on Amazon too, everywhere else, right? So they'll do it for your like Barnes and Nobles, on Kobo, on Apple, and all that jazz. And so I thought, great, why not? And I was wide for a while with my books, and so it was never a problem. However, ta-da! When I decided to switch over to KU, it took me over a year to do so because I had to jump through a million hoops. And I mean, if you know about KU, you know that while you're in KU, your books cannot be available anywhere else. And it doesn't matter if you told people to take them off. If they're there, you can't be in KU. You can get into a lot of trouble. And so I had to wait until Ingram Spark removed all my books from Barnes and Nobles, from Apple, from Kobo, like literally everywhere else where they had them listed, my ebooks, because your paperbacks, you're not exclusive with those. You can have those anywhere you want. And so I was going back and forth with Ingram Spark with all these different sellers. The sellers were saying one thing, Ingram Spark was saying another. And another little tip about Ingram Spark, if you are considering them, their customer service is abysmal. Like, it's horrific. It is basically non-existent, pretty much like my patience was at the end of this over a year that I was dealing with them. They will not get back to you. There won't be any help. It got to a point where I had to handle everything myself. There was legal action involved. I had to go to every single one of these sellers and basically convince them and beg them to take my books off. And it took a lot of communication and back and forth until finally they were all removed. And I was able to move everything into KU. So if you are going wide, make sure that you are manually uploading your ebooks to every single seller. It takes more time, but in the end, if you want to pull your books out, if you want to make any changes, that's on you. That's not on Ingram Spark or another distributor. You don't have to ask. There's no middle party. You do everything yourself, and having that control is the best part of being an indie author. Also, if you are going on Kobo, and Kobo is like a huge platform right now, if you go directly through Kobo and you upload directly through Kobo, you can use all their marketing tools. They have great marketing within their own platform, and so why not take advantage of that? However, if you publish through Ingram Spark your ebooks, you won't be able to take advantage of those marketing that Kobo has. So that's also something to consider. Another thing you want to think about when going from one to the other or picking between one and the other is test both. Don't just listen to one I'm saying. Don't listen to what other authors are saying. Test both and see which one gives you the most profit. If I hadn't tested both, I never would have made the switch, and I would have still been making a lot less than what I'm making now, being in KU, right? And it could be vice versa. It could be the opposite. Let's say if I started in KU, I never would have made extra money being in wide. And so make sure you test both and give yourself some time. Test it for like a good 3-4 months, 6 months in each sector and see which one you prefer. And it might not even be a financial choice, right? Like, you might like the ease of being in KU, or you might like being able to promote differently if you're in wide. So just make sure that you test it out for yourself and you make that decision based on what is best for your books. Because while I talked about the genre specific and what's popular in certain genres, there's always that one odd man out, right? Like, there's always that one book, your book could be it, where it might work for a certain genre to be completely exclusive to KU, but in your book, it might work for Y. So you have to really check it out, test it out, and make that decision firmly for yourself. If you are in KU, another tip that I have for you is make sure that you organize your ARCs for reviews ahead of time, and make sure you send them out before your book is published, because after your book is published, there is this weird gray area on where you can send ARCs. And I actually have spoken to Amazon reps, and they said that yes, you can still send ARCs for reviews after the book is published. But I've also heard of people getting into a bunch of trouble for doing that. So to make it easier on yourself, organize things ahead of time, send out the ARCs before the book is released, and the day of the release, just email everybody you gave an ARC to and ask them to post their reviews. It's just easier. It will help your release go over with a bang because you have a bunch of reviews already stocked on there, and it's just a more easygoing way to go about it. And then the final thing that you kind of want to think about making this decision is, what is your marketing plan? Are pre-orders, which is big for a lot of people, are they part of your marketing plan? Pre-orders don't work very well for KU. People just wait until the book is released to get it in the program, right? You'll still have some pre-orders, but it's not going to be some big, huge number. Also, the pre-orders that you get while you're in KU, they don't count in the same way towards your sales as they would for a white platform. So if you are trying to hit that list that we talked about, having a longer pre-order stretch before your book is released will actually help you when it's actually releasing and launching to get more sales. Whereas if you run KU, it doesn't make a huge difference. So that's something to think about as well. And that's pretty much all I have for you for that. There's so many more things to discuss about Wide and KU, but these are the things that I thought were relevant to what I wanted to talk about today. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you will enjoy more videos where I talk to you about how I made an ass of myself when I first started. So stick around for that. We'll actually have more of these once a month, as I mentioned. If you do like the types of videos I'm doing, just comment, let me know what else you want to see or which ones you want to see more of, because I really want to give you the kind of content that you would enjoy. And as always, subscribe, like the video, hit the bell notification, and tell your friends about it, because I'm really hoping to grow this community a lot more in the next little while. So thank you for sticking around, for listening to me chatter, and I will see you guys next week. Stay magical and enjoy the rest of your week. Bye.